Hey folks, this is Kalani. Let's talk about something which is kind of interesting, and it's something which I certainly hope goes forward. Blizzard has announced that they are sort of maybe thinking of adding some form of purchase in-game with in-game gold for game time. So this would be how EVE works with PLEX and how WildStar worked with CREDD. And before you start the masses with their pitchforks and torches, let me just calm you down and say I've seen quite a lot of stupid arguments about this system. Mainly, it's putting a price on gold, a real money dollar price on in-game gold, which is absurd. It's legitimizing gold selling, which is again absurd. It's forcing people to make gold, is going to ruin the economy. Rich players are going to hyperinflate the prices, and Blizzard is going to lose money when people play for free. This is kind of all ridiculous, I'll be honest. They're all moronic arguments and all really not worth considering, and I'm going to dismiss most of them out of hand. I'm going to tell you that this system, if implemented, would be nothing but a good thing. It would hurt no one and help everyone. So it would introduce a much needed gold sink. Some people are running around with several toons on gold cap. Many of you probably can't understand that. Basically, quite a lot of their characters literally cannot hold any more gold. They are that chock-a-block with the gold and good stuff. If they were to introduce something like this, they could essentially play Warcraft for free for quite a while, but that's not a bad thing. You may be thinking, well, if they can play for free, then Blizzard won't have any money to create anything, and you'd be completely wrong. Because those tokens which this person is going to buy to potentially play for free forever, they're coming from someone who has purchased them for a subscription amount, potentially higher than a subscription amount. I know that's how WildStar did it. I'm not entirely sure if Warcraft would go that way. But basically, for every token that this person has purchased for, let's say, 10,000 gold, somebody somewhere has bought that token for $15. So Blizzard wouldn't lose money anywhere. Just to get that out there. Every single subscription is going to be paid for, whether with gold or whether with dollars. Either way, the gold is going to be purchased for dollars. So Blizzard really wouldn't lose anything there. And if you've ever looked into multiboxing, you know that it's going to cost you a pretty penny every single month to keep those accounts running. If this system goes forward and you have plenty of gold, you can start dabbling in multiboxing. Many people might not think that's a good thing, having another set of 20 shamans running around in battlegrounds killing people, but I think it's a nice little thing. More people can experiment with multiboxing because that harsh, horrific cost per month is potentially negated. So that's something to consider. People can have a lot more fun, Blizzard gets more money, and, you know, a few people probably die in battlegrounds, but that's fine, that's what they're for. If you're worried about things getting hyperinflated, I wouldn't worry too much. If it's anything like how EVE and WildStar implemented it, it's going to be a player-driven economy, i.e. one person buys the token and sells it to another person. Whether that's going to be server-wide or across a region, it's sort of unknown because they haven't really planned a great deal about this system, apparently. They don't seem to have any details about how they'd go forward with it. But if it's like that, then it'll be player-driven, which means players essentially pay in gold how much they think game time is worth. If it's ever higher than what they think it's worth, they simply don't buy it. Demand goes down and supply starts ramping up until it gets to a point where people feel comfortable paying a certain amount of gold for their game time. It comes to the kind of point where people's like, I don't know, I can make that $15 relatively easily, but 50,000 gold? Now that's difficult to come by, I'll just pay the $15. And then it'll come down to a point where supply meets demand, and it'll regulate itself, essentially. So rich players won't be able to do that. Don't have to be scared of those millionaires. But potentially the nicest thing about this kind of system is that it allows people with less spare cash to come into World of Warcraft. That means people can save money if they don't really have a great deal of it already, or new players can come in. You know, all those people, what? You have to pay monthly for that? Well, potentially not. It can bring a lot of new blood in, which every game loves Trust me, all these people saying, we don't want noobs. Well, teach them a trick or two and they may just save your raid night. They may be the key to you getting a little bit of progression. New players are always good. Trust me in this. But it gives people more options to play the game. People don't have to feel, I've got to spend another $15 if I want to play World of Warcraft again. I'll just go play some Farmville, you know. It kind of takes that away. It takes away that heavy gate of there being a subscription model. And it's a really nice way to kind of bring World of Warcraft to the world of free-to-play accessibility while retaining the pay-to-play quality, which is something many games really struggle to meet. They just don't get to that point. They either fail because they're not big enough, or they don't make enough money, so they start throwing microtransactions here, there, and everywhere. WoW clearly doesn't need that. WoW has been stable for far too long to have to rely on that kind of thing, and this would be a very nice addition instead of the main way to get their income. So it's kind of in a really nice place to implement this system without it having any heavy drawbacks for the game. Now, obviously these new players may not be able to make the gold required to pay for their game time immediately, but they're sure as hell going to want to learn, and anybody who wants to get in on this who hasn't been in the gold making business is probably going to want to get on it as well, which means there's going to be a lot more competition for the markets which are gold rich. People will be aiming higher and want to learn more about how they can make gold. In my opinion, that's a brilliant thing as well. People educating themselves in one area is going to affect all others. It's kind of ridiculous how much of a domino effect intelligence can have, where you start seeing patterns and you start piecing little bits together. And if you make the general populace of a game smarter, they're going to get better at the game and everything's going to move smoother along. Maybe you make a little less gold, but if everybody has less gold, then the prices for this token are going to come down anyway. So again, it's going to be fully self-regulating, but you might have a few more competitors in the market. Competition is a very good thing. People start to up their game quite a little bit. You'll know this if you've ever been in a progressive raiding guild with people who are competing for spots. So more competition in the market means a lot of people are probably going to be very happy when they either get a pretty good deal on something, or prices overall are going to be more reasonable. One person controlling a market is never really a good thing, as quite a lot of people should be aware. A brilliant example of that is how America's internet service provider is having a little bit of issues with people having to choose between, well, Comcast or Verizon, or maybe not even a choice, and they can kind of treat people like crap. But that's maybe a bit too much of a high comparison, but on a lower level, it is going to make things a lot nicer for the average Joe, especially the people who won't necessarily be affected by this system, which is a good point as well. If you don't want to partake in this system, you're not really going to be any worse off. You'll obviously lose $15 a month from your in real life wallet, but you'll keep the gold that you would otherwise spend in your in-game wallet and be able to purchase all manner of goodies. So you kind of just plod along as you would usually. Now obviously this is going to take a little bit of the market away from the gold sellers, which should mean less spam, less hacking, because if you didn't know, the main cause or the main reason for hacked accounts is so your gold can be sold to people who are buying it on the internet. That's where a lot of the gold comes from that gold sellers sell. So if there's less business, there should be less hacking and less risk of your account being compromised. Obviously it's not going to push too many people away from gold selling because this system doesn't allow you to change gold into real money currency, which is a very good thing in and of itself because it won't create a market like the real money auction house in Diablo 3. People were playing that game for money, which caused quite a few issues, and I'm sure Blizzard made bank off it. Well, they're probably happy, but it did cause quite a lot of issues on the auction house and a lot of duping, which, again, where there's money, there's going to be hackers, which isn't really something you want to deal with in the game because they just make everything worse. Now, while you cannot make money from the gold in World of Warcraft, legitimately, you would be saving money if you purchased the tokens with gold, so you wouldn't lose those $15 a month. you'd be able to use them on something else, potentially treat yourself to something which you couldn't otherwise afford. So it's going to be nice all round for people both in-game and in real life. And these tokens being able to be purchased means Blizzard has the potential to get a large increase in revenue. You may think that's a nasty thing and Blizzard is this horrible corporation, but that money is what's going to fuel future WoW content and all the other Blizzard games that we know and love. The more money they get, the better games that we'll get in return. So, as I said earlier, it seems to hurt no one and help everyone. So that's kind of my stance on this. I believe it's a brilliant thing, and I'd like to hear your comments and any opinions you have down in the comment section below. But that's it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button below the video, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.